Detroit Lions lose to the Arizona Cardinals, I think this town might melt down. I think people are going to lose it. And as much as I feel like there was not nearly enough respect for Tampa, I don't think there's any respect for the Cardinals, even though they beat the Rams the way they did. They beat the Rams more impressively than the Lions beat the Rams.
I would disagree. I think that there is more concern about the game against Arizona because
I didn't say concern. I said respect.
I think there's more respect for it.
You think there's more respect for Arizona than there was for Tampa?
Yep. And I think it's because they lost to Tampa. So now you can't afford to look past other teams. And I think people are looking at, okay, who's Arizona? They start doing a deeper dive, realize this is a team that scored a bunch of points against Buffalo. And then a team that just destroyed the Rams. And as you point out, the Lions got past the Rams in the first week and didn't look great doing it, but they won the game. So add to that, who's the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals?
It's Kyler Murray.
And what's his chief asset?
He runs around.
He can scramble. And we know the Lions have had, and the Lions aren't alone.
Yeah.
Teams in the NFL struggle.
I laugh when I hear fan bases say, why can't we stop a running quarterback?
Because they're really good at doing what they do.
Because running quarterbacks run on everybody. It's not just your team.
So Murray is an exceptional scrambler. He scrambles all over the place. He'll run all over the field until he realizes he's got no chance, and then he gives himself up. Mm-hmm. But we've seen this play out before, and we're going to be nervous about this because Kyler Murray's one of the best at buying himself extra time. I understand that, throughout his career, maybe he hasn't earned the big respect of NFL fans because he hasn't been great. He's had games where he's looked phenomenal. He's had games where he has looked like mung. But right now, their offense has clicked through 2 weeks. Lions have a much improved defense. It's going to be a test for him, and I think people are respecting what Arizona has to bring.
I guess we disagree on that fact, but let me just put it to you like this. What do you think is going to happen in this town if they lose this game?
Well, that's a different question.
Yes. That was the original. Are we going to be okay is the question.
I think fans will lose it. And then they'll probably blame you because you've brought up that they haven't lost back-to-back games in years.
Well, then it would clearly be my fault.
Yeah. But no, they would lose it because we saw how people have reacted from losing to Tampa. If they lose a second game this early in the season, I mean, it's not the end of the world. But again, how did they lose the game? Does the offense still struggle? Is Jared Goff throwing more interceptions? Are they not finding someone who's a reliable option to get the ball, to get the thing done in the red zone? Has the defense regressed? I mean, it all depends how you end up losing a game. But if they look anything like they've looked in the first 2 weeks offensively, that's not going to be good.
Well, the weird thing about their offensive struggles is I think they're somewhat over-exaggerated. They're just not finishing drives. They've got a top 10 offense in yards and passing yards. In fact, they're top 2 in passing, top 10 in rushing. The other thing, though, in getting the feedback, and I saw this in your show sheet today, and I'm like, if we're listening to what we're hearing this week, I fully expect the Lions to hand the ball to David Montgomery 35 times this Sunday and target Sam Laporta on every other passing. Like these are the repetitive things that we are hearing. And, Montgomery wasn't that effective last weekend.
No, he wasn't.
It's a well-kept secret in spite of all the calls we got for more Montgomery. What was he, 11 carries, 35 yards?
Yeah. I mean, it was nothing special from Montgomery. The running game itself, the Lions got plenty of yards running the football. Jahmyr Gibbs was very good, and they, do their weekly handoff to Jamison Williams, and he gets yards out of it, which is great. But they ran a ton of plays. They threw the ball 55 times, 56 when you count Jack Fox, and they ran it 27 times. It's a lot of plays. But it's a big disparity between how many times you threw the ball versus how many times you run the ball. They always look to achieve balance, but it depends on what the situation calls for in each game. Now, did last week's game, did it call to throw the ball that much? I think that's where the fans will fight back a little bit and say, you didn't have to throw it that much. You could have run the ball more. And
You
We'll
heard
see what
Dan
kind of
Campbell.
game. Yeah.
Dan Campbell said that was the game plan, and we're not going to apologize for it.
Well, right. But then game plans change based on what happens in the course of the game. So when you see that that their defense, that their secondary is up to the task, but then you notice that Vita Vea is out of the game. Kalijah Kancey didn't even start. That now you've got this big space up front that you should be able to dominate on, and they didn't try to take advantage of that as much as they did try to take advantage of the weakened secondary.
Maybe they got a little impatient, but they did. You say game plans change during games. They do, but they also reflect time and score. They were down 2 possessions. They weren't down 2 possessions. They were down 20-16 for the bulk of the second half, where a field goal wouldn't do them any good. So they were in a lot of passing situations when they got into 3rd and 4th and long, and they had to get a first down because they needed a touchdown, not a field goal. And I think that also dictated why those numbers got a little bit out of hand.